What's up, everyone? It's my yard here. Now, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, there was Star Wars, but the WWE Universe had All Stars, and All Stars was a phenomenal game, in my honest opinion. One of the best wrestling games I've played in 10 years, in the last 10 years, without a doubt, because of how pick up and play it was, the replayability, the multiplayer with sound, the hit detection, the engine, everything was spot on, and unlike most of the WWE games, got patched back then when THQ didn't really patch anything because it was done by a different studio. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is just listen to an interview with Tony Pete Sky and Dave Horn, the creator of Action Arcade Wrestling. There's a new one coming out on Steam linked with Shikara, which is going to be absolutely awesome. It's been greenlit. Congrats to Dave. And they were talking briefly about WWE All Stars, and that got me thinking. Near enough 2 years ago, I didn't think it was that long, I got an email out of the blue in my inbox from one of the game designers for WWE All Stars. He's now moved on to another company since then, working on another fighting game genre, which you would definitely know. I don't want to say his name unless I'm not meant to, but I don't think there'd be any problem. But for this example, we'll call him Double J. And he was telling me all about how it's... Briefly, we only had a couple of emails. And the first email was basically saying where it started and everything. And then the second email basically said what All Stars 2 was their hopeful plans for, and some stuff that actually got cut from the first game. Now, I've never shown the email to anyone. I've not posted it. And by the time I upload this video, I'll be at Eurogamer, so I'm going to basically let you see what was said. You ready? Here we go. In response to me saying that the engine was superior to the WWE games franchise, he says, I agree with you on the engine. It was born at Midway when we did TNA 1, that's TNA Impact. Many people know we used Unreal Engine 3, but it would almost be unfair to call it Unreal because the whole thing was pretty much rewritten to build a wrestling fighting game. Unreal was never meant to be used on a 60Hz arena-based fighting game on the console, but we made it work with considerable effort. Also, the tools that the designer used to build characters, script attacks, and work with animations were custom tools we created at Midway. We kept working on the engine while on TNA 2 before Midway went under. Our awesome engine was one of the major reasons why our team got bought out by THQ. We did a huge upgrade on it at the beginning of UFC 4 so it could do all the IK and physics-based things we needed. Now, in itself, that just paragraph is awesome. They were going to make a TNA wrestling game too, which would have been awesome, to be honest. And the fact that they've just modified an engine essentially is kind of what 2K have been doing with Ukes over the last couple of years as well, trying to build something of that nature. I've always said that the engine was always superior to WWE 12, WWE SmackDown vs. Raw games by none, and I'm surprised they never did that personally. But that's not all he had to say. No, there was more. As for All Stars 2, I can tell you that we wanted to do many more types of special attacks that work well in the same spirit as the RKO, basically hitting them out of nowhere in any sort of aerial capacity. They would have different properties associated with them and could be used in many different ways and situations. I would have made huge changes to the juggle system to allow for more creative combos, instead of just basically a couple of punches and a generic flapjack or back body drop or powerbomb combination with aerial attacks. I also wanted to have all the characters be very different, not follow the classes as much, because there was brawlers, high flyers, grapplers, and there was one big men. They would have had many more unique attacks and combos. There were also other bounce mechanics we played around with that were really cool. There would have been unique special team moves and setups for guys that play as a team. I would have had unique nav animations and nav properties for each character. I would have also pushed to give them their gimmicks and reflect their essence of the character and obviously factor into combat. It was sort of seen in the DLC. R-Truth and Mark Henry were two very different characters for the classes. Mark Henry was a big guy and R-Truth had a lot of combinations of being a brawler and a high flyer, being able to jump straight onto the top turnbuckle or springboard off the ropes to do a combo. It was a great, unique thing to behold, to be honest. But that's not all. He talks about match types, something that actually got taken out of WWE All-Stars 1. We needed more modes. We had ladders and table match modes working before we shipped WWE All-Stars 1, but some people were too afraid it would take too much time to fix, so they got cut, because patching, etc., which they were actively doing. The tables match was particularly fun. It was a fast-paced match mode where you had to throw the opponent through as many tables as possible to win, but we changed some of the rules. I would have experimented with different weapons you could throw, with different velocity, trajectories, and speeds to mix things up. I would have overhauled the way the weapons worked and give them distinct combat properties, because the baseball bat and the chair did the same thing, which was a bit meh. Also, we always wanted them to take the fight backstage, and so there's so much you could do there gameplay-wise. There were a lot of other ideas and fixes as well, but these are the ones I can think of off the top of my head. Now, backstage would have been awesome if you just think of No Mercy having different rooms and having like an aerial bird's eye sort of view, and people going through walls and pool tables and staging and other stuff. It would have been phenomenal just for the idea perspective in my head as well. They obviously had a lot of creative input in this game because Ukes basically had no part in it. It was this studio that Midway had, and the sales were good enough. Had THQ not gone bust, that there would have been a sequel, but alas, it is no more, and I'm sad. I don't know why I've held on to this information for so long. Obviously, there's a lot of developers who worked on the game that would have knew about all of this information. Maybe I held it back in my head thinking people shouldn't be allowed to know this, but I think if people want an alternative, especially with the indie games exploding with PWX, 5-star wrestling, action arcade wrestling, having a variety of wrestling games only helps the genre. It doesn't just kill it. If you expected only one Street Fighter a year, you'd be annoyed, and no other games. So there'd be no Tekken, no Mortal Kombat, no Virtua Fighter, no Dead or Alive or anything like that. If you were only allowed one Street Fighter each year, you would be annoyed. But that's basically what WWE wrestling games in general are. One a year. We need some mixture. Maybe All Stars 2 should be made again. Maybe it should be a downloadable game and not a full title. Just make it sort of the Killer Instinct model. Have 2 characters and go from there. Hopefully you found this information useful and insightful, and maybe we'll get some more information from former developers in the future as well if they see this video. Maybe they'll email me back. It was phenomenal. It blew my mind at the time. And maybe I should have posted it before then to let people know, but I think now's probably the best moment with 2K16 a month away and having nothing else in the meantime. So leave your comments in the comment section below. Maybe your questions might get answered. You never know. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you soon. Bye bye.